and welcome to Hong Kong Business Owners. I'm Carmen, founder of this podcast that shares inspiring stories from entrepreneurs based in Hong Kong. Whether you created your own business, thinking about doing so, or simply curious to discover business creation stories, you'll get to listen to unique business owners' journeys, to learn what it takes to start a company, what the keys to success are, how to apprehend failures and challenges, and what to keep in mind when developing your own business. As an entrepreneur, one of your main focus is to sell your products or services. That's where marketing comes into play, especially digital marketing and social media. Do you know how much time we spend every day on social media? More than 2 hours. That's an opportunity to interact with your audience, reach new customers, and get more visibility. To find out more about how to leverage social media to grow your business, check out oak.genhk.com, the agency that helps business owners find their place on social media. Now let's move on to the episode. I hope it'll inspire you and guide you in your current or future projects. And don't forget to give me 5 stars to show me your support. Welcome everyone. Today is the new episode of Hong Kong Business Owners. I'm with Delphine, co-founder of OnTheList. Founded in 2016, OnTheList is a members-only flash sales company. You partner with retail brands and distributors to turn old inventory into exclusive sales. It's a sustainable vision of fashion, beauty, home, and lifestyle that also offers the best deals on fashion items to your members. Today, you have a 1 million members community across Asia, and you've organized more than 2,000 flash sales in 7 different markets in Asia Pacific. And you keep growing to expand even more and reach new markets. So my first question is, before founding OnTheList with your partner, Diego, you were already working in the fashion industry. Is it a domain that you particularly like and which would explain your experience in fashion?
Hello, and thank you very much for the opportunity of being here today. So to start, in fact, I arrived in Hong Kong in 2015, and I was working for a brand called Fago. So Fago is a known brand in France, but not very known in Asia. It's a fashion brand, and what they do is that they plant a tree each time they sell a product. So in fact, I already had this fashion and sustainability angle in what I was doing. So I worked with them a year in Paris, and then they decided to send me in Asia to develop the different markets based in Hong Kong, but traveling around Asia. So when I arrived here, I already have this fashion and sustainable component. And on top of that, I had this commercial approach because my aim was really to try to sell the brand because this brand is not very known in Asia. So it was a mix of different skill sets and angles that helped me to, at the beginning, to start OnTheList.
Okay, so you already had this fashion, you were already in fashion before, and was it something on your mind to start an entrepreneurial project at that time? Was it something you wanted to try before to launch your own business? Or is it also that Hong Kong is the good city to do so?
So before coming to Hong Kong, I didn't have really the idea to launch my own business, but it's true that at Fago, I was directly reporting to the founders of the brand, and they were really inspiring, and I always admired their ideas and what they were, their willingness to always go forward, move forward, and try new ideas. So when I arrived with Fago in Hong Kong, I was by myself. I didn't have any teams. Everyone was based in France. So it's true that I had a lot of time to think. And I started to have a lot of ideas of launching businesses here. And yeah, it was part of a bit like a long thinking of should I launch something there? Then I discussed a lot with Diego, who's my husband and co-founder of OnTheList. And I remember that every morning when we wake up, we had new ideas. Well, should we do that, and that? But it was completely different from retail, F&B, or different stuffs. But in a way, the turning point was where I was going to, in fact, to a private sale organized by a brand. And it was very badly organized. So I came back after the sale. I was like saying to Diego, look, the organization was very bad. But then we stopped talking about that. And a few months after, I had some stock of Fago, in fact. And I called my boss in France and I said, can I ship you back this stock because I don't know what to do with it. And because they were very sustainable and because they didn't want, and they are very cautious on the carbon emission, they were saying, no, look, we don't want this stock back. So you need to find a solution to sell this stock in Hong Kong. So then I started to look for a solution here. In fact, I couldn't find someone really to help me to sell this stock. So I was like, okay, let's try to do by yourself. So we really did this first garage sale. In fact, it was in PMQ. We rent like a kind of space. We were there, we put all the Fago, we asked all our friends to come, and it was during a weekend, so it was fun with some like drinks and everything. So it's a bit how the story started. And after that, we sat down with Diego and said, okay, there's really something to do because it seems that no one is doing that, and we should be the solution for the brand. And in fact, this business model exists in Europe and in the US. And the similar business model as us in Europe is called Arletty. And we knew Arletty, Diego knew Arletty because he was working for The Couples, the brand. It's a fashion brand, French fashion brand. And he was working with Arletty. So then what happened is that we call Arletty and we say, do you want to do Arletty Hong Kong? Because at that time, we were not that confident to launch a business by ourselves. And they were very nice, but they were saying, no, look, we are in Paris, we are very focused with Europe. It's not really our project to go to Asia. But if you want, you can come to our floor. We can teach you how to do it in terms of operations, which was amazing. So in fact, we knew the business model as a brand because with The Couples, Diego was working with them. And then we learned all the operation side. So then after that, we said, okay, now it's time for us to start. And it's how we really started, in fact, in August 2015.
That's interesting that Arletty was super open to share about that.
Yeah.
So from what I understand, Diego was also working in fashion.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So okay. So can you, for the listeners, can you explain exactly what your business model is?
Yeah.
And who are your clients? The suppliers, and also I'm interested in knowing how do you convince the brand to give or sell you the items?
So really the vision of OnTheList and the mission is really to turn inventories into opportunities. So what we do is that we partner with brands to help them to manage their pass-in stock. So as a brand, you sell your items in full price stores, then you do end of season sales, then usually you sell your product in the outlet, but then after you don't know what to do with it. So then we arrive and we take this product and we organize what we call flash sale events. So we work on a consignment basis with the brand, meaning that they ship us the product and they take back the leftover, but we try to sell as much as possible in a short period of time. And then as a customer, you can access this sales either offline or online. And you have incredible deals because as it's passing stock, it's with very big discounts. So we are really the middleman between the brand and the customers. We started in Hong Kong in 2016 with more the offline business model. But then after we expanded to online. And then quickly we expanded internationally in Asia, I would say. So now we have 3 permanent showroom. So when I say permanent showrooms, it means that we have leases, long-term leases, and every week we change brands and we have different sales. So these showrooms are in Hong Kong, Singapore, and Shanghai. And they are in the city center because we really want to be different from the outlets. And we want to target the office people. So we open at 8 a.m. So we can come to do some shopping and at 8 a.m. and then go back to the office at 9. And then on top of that, we're operating in Malaysia, Australia, Thailand, and Korea. Pop-ups and online because we are not ready to have a permanent showroom, which involves a lot of fixed costs in terms of rent and people. But we have more a light model in these different markets.
And when you partner with brands, do you agree on, because you said we try to sell as much as possible of what they send to us. Do you agree on a percentage of the amount that you have to sell, or?
It's difficult. We try to forecast as much as possible for sure, but everything depends on the stock available, the prices. Us, we support all the fixed costs. So the brand, they ship us the product, but then we pay for the rent, for the people, for the logistics, for everything. So we can commit, but then the success fee that we charge the brand is not linked to the performance, because we cannot promise everything at the end of the day.
Okay. So since then, since 2016, your company has grown a lot. We're here in the office today, and I can see many employees. So you have now 150 employees. You're present in 7 markets, as we said, and you have an online store. So how do you drive that growth, making sure you reach your objectives, but also you take care of your staff and you keep the same values to develop your business?
It's true that, in fact, we're a family-owned company, so the growth is big, but it's not compared to in people that have been invested by friends or any other companies. I think we have an approach of test and learn, which is very important. So it's true that for us, our vision that we believe in our business model and we want to be focused into it, because in fact, the brand will always have stock, and we want to be here to help them to manage the stock. However, what we want to achieve is to develop in terms of locations, because it's true that now we've been in 7 markets, but there are still markets in Asia that we are not, like Japan or Taiwan. We were in Taiwan, we are not anymore, but we are rethinking of opening Taiwan. So the geographical presence is very important for us, because we do believe that for the brands, it's very important to have one actor that they can talk to, and they can say, okay, I have this stock in Asia, please help me in this different region. And they don't have to talk to different people in all the different countries. Then your question in terms of team, is true that now the organization that we have is that we have a managing director in Hong Kong, managing the Hong Kong team. We have a MD in China and Southeast Asia. So she started with China and now she's with Southeast Asia. So they are the 2 people that really have that have big teams, and they are the one that are helping us with the culture, with the management, and to really be able to manage all their teams. And then in the more young markets, we have brand directors. So we have someone in Korea, Alexis in Australia. They have smaller team, but then they are in contact directly with us. After, I think something that we still do and we are still doing with the team on a daily basis and on the business development side. So it's more on the commercial side. So we talk to the brand and we try to help them to find new solutions and ideas to increase the sales. And then we try, as the founder of the company, to have moments like town halls or this kind of moments where we can talk to everyone and give them and present them the vision, the mission of the company, where we want to go, because that's something very important for us to be able to give some directions.
Mm. So I guess your job today is very different from what it was at the beginning.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. It's true that thanks to the organization, we are less in the operational side for the biggest markets. even though we are still not that big company, so we know everything and we are aware of everything. But then on all the daily things, we are less involved, and we are more now. Our job is really to look for new opportunities in terms of new markets or new ideas.
So you founded this company with your husband. So how is it to work as a couple? Do you each have a very defined scope? Do you have different skill set? How do you make it work? Because I guess it's a challenge. And I interviewed other entrepreneurs that they founded their business with their partner, and every time it's different. Every time they found the balance in a different way. Sometimes they have the same skill set, but they have like clear boundaries, or sometimes they're so different that it's easier to work together. So how do you do that?
Yeah, I guess each couple is different. Yeah. And so us, we started OnTheList before getting married and before having kids. The beginning, when I look back, the beginning was more difficult than now, I would say, because we were doing everything together, and we don't have the same ways of working. I think we have the same skill sets, meaning that we are both commercial. We love meeting people, and it's not like you have the tech person and the commercial. So in terms of skill set, we are a bit similar, but then we have very different ways of doing it. So when we were doing everything together, it was a bit intense and a lot of big debates and, and big conversations. And at a point when we started to develop abroad, we decided to divide the markets. So now I'm more in charge of China and Korea, while Diego is more in charge of Southeast Asia. And then for Hong Kong, we are both in contact with Giovanni, but it works quite well. And we do have the ownership on each market, meaning that we were deciding, and because I think the question at the end is who's deciding. That's where it can be very conflictual. So now we can decide for on markets, even though for sure we are talking and we are asking advices and everything. And now I see really to work as a couple as a strength, because it's true that in fact, we're talking a lot about work all the time. Even though one advice that we got was like, be careful, try to set boundaries, not to talk about work at home. But at the end, for us, it doesn't work. It's very difficult.
Also, as an entrepreneur, in general,
exactly, and we are passionate about it, so we want to talk about it anyway. So the fact that we talk about it all the time and we have ideas and I'm on the way to go to the airport or whatever, like it means that in a way we are working even more than the hours that we are dedicated to work, and it creates a lot of new ideas, a lot of new things, and so we see it now more as a chance that we can be together in this adventure than something more difficult to handle. Mm-hmm. And now it works quite well.
Yeah. Now it's a real partnership, but also it made you like a very strong couple. Then to have kids is like,
exactly. Yeah.
What's the next challenge then?
And it's true that having kids help us to soften a bit the discussion, because we have other discussion that work now for sure, and that helps in a way.
All right. Okay. So I have 2 questions for you, 2 in 1. So you were talking about developing in new markets. So first question, what's your biggest challenge today? What do you want to achieve with this business? And what are the next markets you want to go to?
So in fact, I would say that 2022 was a very difficult year for us because of COVID, and so Shanghai was closed for a few months, and we had all the fixed costs to pay and no revenue.
So 2022?
Yeah, 2022.
So after COVID?
In Hong Kong, it was still COVID, and it was still the COVID in Shanghai. So that first half was like nothing happening here in Hong Kong. China was closed. So very tough, in fact. We had to take a decision that was very difficult for us. We had to restructure the team. It was the first time that we had to do that. It was, in fact, we had some, we have an informal board that is helping us to take some decision, and they help us a lot with that because it's a very difficult exercise and it was very painful. But hopefully we did it because at the end of the day we had to do. So after this very tough 2022, where we were not profitable for the first time since the beginning of OnTheList, the main objective of 2023 was to go back to profitability. And I think it's a different way of looking at the business, because before we were very GMV focused, so very growth focused and very eager to grow. But since then, we have a completely different approach. Okay, GMV is nice to see and it's important, but at the end of the day, what we want to see is really the profitability of the business. Our aim is really to continue this business long term, because we love it and we want still to grow the company. So if we want to sustain in long term, we have to be profitable. We don't want to. We are not this kind of company that have been invested and a lot of millions, and they are not profitable for a few years, and after they will resell and everything. So we are more in the long term approach, and it's what we say to the brand, because when we work with a brand, the idea is to work with them on a long term basis and to be their partner for this stock management, and not to do one shot and to leave. So now 2023, where we achieved the objective and we go back to healthy profitability. So the idea is really to continue on that direction and to be cautious as well on the new developments, because it's true that you can say, okay, now it's going back to normal and let's do that. But then we need to be careful as well. So we still want to grow, but in a cautious way. So the objective is really to focus on the main markets, which are Hong Kong, China, and Singapore, where we have a showroom, and to be sure that we can grow the brands, grow the customer base, which are very important. And then to focus as well to the new markets, I would say, that we have. And 7, it's still a lot of markets. And then to try and test and learn in like I mentioned, in Asia. We are not in Japan and Taiwan, which could be the new market in Asia. We have the big project as well for 2024 is to open a second showroom in China, in Beijing, because China, in fact, is a market where the stock enters in China is very difficult to put the stock outside of China. So there is a lot of stock in China. So we have one showroom in Shanghai, but we want to find an opportunity to have a second one in Beijing. So now we are talking with some landlords. And then we're exploring, but really it's just as a exploring phase, the Middle East with Dubai, because in fact there is no one doing what we do there, and it could be an opportunity to go outside of Asia and to start a new region.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
it'll be a very different market because there are some similarities, but also the culture there is so different.
Yeah, it's very different. I think we will need to learn from scratch everything. Yeah. And it's true that for us, it's very important to understand the culture before doing business. Because if I take the example of Korea, which is quite a difficult market for us, it's a very specific in terms of culture. And if you don't understand the culture, you can do a lot of business mistakes, which you could avoid by understanding the codes and how they work and what are all the different things that they are not saying, but you could see in meetings. So it's very important. Like we take a lot of time understanding the culture before doing business.
What makes the Korean market difficult? I mean, different.
Yeah, different. In a way, it's a market where it's more difficult for foreigners to access. First, it's very conservative, so they are big conglomerate and they are not very open to foreigners. And then it's a market where it's top down. So you really need to meet the top people that could take the decisions. So in terms of accessibility, it took us longer time than we thought in terms of entering the market. But then after, the positive side that when you do things well, they trust you very strongly, and the word travels fast, meaning that it's like our industry, it's a small world. So if you're recommended by someone, then they trust that. So after you can go fast. So we had it took us longer to start, but then now we have a very good momentum.
And then what about Japan?
Japan, we're not yet there. There are people doing what we do there. So that's why for the moment it was not really an option. But why not one day? Because it's an interesting market. There are a lot of all the brands are there. They have a lot of presence. It's a big market. So
also very different from the rest.
Very different. And I think like for Japan, we need to understand well the culture as well. So that will be a new challenge.
So you were talking about 2022. That was a tough year, but it was also the year you became a B-Corp. So can you tell us more about that? Like, how did you become B-Corp? And also what it brings you and what's the difference now?
So B-Corp is an American label that a company can get. So in fact, what you need to do is to answer 200 questions that are very linked to different stakeholders. So it can be about the environment, about the people, about the suppliers. So it's very 360 and very comprehensive about all the aspects of your business. And it's really to do business for good. And it's really to push companies to relook at their business model, how they do things, how they treat their employees, to make sure that they are going in the right directions. So it's not only about the environment, but about all these different stakeholders. And so when we learn about this B-Corp label, we're like, okay, we really want to apply and to have it for OnTheList. Then I think we minimize a bit the work because it was a very long work to do. It took us 9 months to first to understand all the questions, then because all the questions need to be documented. So you need to relook at all the past, proof of why do you answer this question that way or not the other way. So and it really had to ask all the different stakeholders, like different departments of the company as well. So we had one project manager for that. It was our head of operation, and we were as well the help of outside people, like consultants, to really guide us in how to answer the questions. And after, so you submit that, and after you had some audit from B-Corp that are coming and they are looking at your answers and being sure that you answer right to the questions. So we got the label in certification in 2022. And in fact, you need to redo it every 3 years because then they want to be sure that you continue in that direction. So for us, in fact, I would say that I was positively surprised that we didn't change that much our way of doing, meaning that we were already doing things in the good direction. For sure, a few things had to be adjusted, but it was not big changes. So it was nice in a way to see that. And for sure, it's something that we want to continue. We go to renew the label. And after, it's per entity. So we did for the Hong Kong entity, but then we are looking to do it for the other entities. So for sure, it takes time. So we need to be sure that it doesn't take too much time from the team, but then it's really something we want to make sure that we achieve, be sure that we are really in line with all the different stakeholders.
Are they the one that reach out to you, or how does it work?
No, we reach out to them. So you go online and you can answer to all the questions. And after I feel in Hong Kong, this label is not very well known. It's more known in the US and in Europe. So one of the big companies that is B-Corp and was really the symbol of that is Patagonia, one of the reference in the industry. In Hong Kong, I think it's around 10 companies. So we try to collaborate, to do some networking events. We try to talk about it all together. But it's true that it's quite limited for the moment. But if anyone wants to know more about it, we'll be happy to answer any questions.
And so it's a label. It means it's like a
certification.
Yeah, it's certification. Yeah. So then how can you leverage that?
But in fact, for us, it was not really to leverage it because we knew that in Asia, it was not very known. So we put it on all the support, but then it doesn't change a lot in terms of marketing or in terms of, so we are proud to be B-Corp, but then it doesn't make a lot of change in our, for commercial wise, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. And as you were talking about Europe and this business model exists there, also, I guess, in the US.
Yeah.
So just something I'm wondering is that you have two, like your business is about fashion and it's about sustainability because all these clothes and items could have been just destroyed or whatever. And instead they have, you sell them. So how do you, I guess in some market, like for example, I guess in Paris, as I'm French, I know French people, I would say the fashion and the deals are something attractive, but also they have this sustainability mindset. So it's really something to, highlight there. But is it different in Asia, for example? I guess my question is, depending on the market, do you highlight either like more fashion deals or sustainability?
But in fact, we try to do both because it's true that the essence of OnTheList is to help this brand to manage stock because this stock would have been ended in the landfill. But we try. It's very important not to greenwash first of all. Then we try to tell the two messages. But at the end of the day, it's true that most of the people are coming more for the good deals. Yeah. Some of them, and we start to see that more and more people are more sensible about the sustainable approach. But I guess it's less than in Europe, and it will take time to arrive. So us, in terms of communication, we don't want to change our communication because it's true and it's what we are doing. But then after, it's how the customers are perceiving the message. And I do believe that it will still take a bit of time. And depending on the markets, it will take more time than for some market than for others.
Yeah, but I guess it's even if some people are not sensitive to sustainability, I guess it's a way to have a foot in that without even, caring about it.
Thinking about it, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And what about more generally, the fashion and luxury industry in Hong Kong? Like, what trends do you see? How do you think it'll evolve? Because luxury is very present in Hong Kong. Do you see a lot of other businesses like coming up, or?
I think Hong Kong is still a market dominating by luxury international brands. Looking at the retail environment, I believe it's hard for a local brand to really, I guess it's not like in Paris, or you have a lot of cool concept stores on the street and you can have a street shop. And in Asia, in a way, it's more difficult. So it's still the international brands that are here that the customer love. They love the brand name. They love the international aspect. So I'm not sure it will change a lot in the coming years.
I'm asking you that because I also interviewed a fashion designer. She launched her clothing brand, and I was also curious to know about the fashion industry in Hong Kong. And she told me kind of the same thing. Like, it's many people coming from other countries, like from Europe or from the US, and many fashion designers in Hong Kong, they go abroad. So actually there's no real local brands. Yeah. So yeah. All right. So this brings us to the last question. Do you have any tips to share to current business owners or maybe to future ones that might be still fearful to take the leap and launch their business?
Yes, for sure. I think something that we always do since the beginning is in test and learn. Because if you have an idea, you can, at the beginning, before launching your company, you can wait your idea or your concept to be completely perfect and to launch it, but then it will take years. While if you, and I already had this idea that was given to me that if you want to open a restaurant, don't wait to have the perfect location, the perfect chef and everything. just start to cook at home, invite your friends first. Then second time you cook at home and you ask your friend to pay, and then you're going to see if they're paying for it or not. This kind of stuff. So just don't wait for the final perfect, but just test and learn. And in fact, it's what we are doing all the time in our daily job and daily life. When now that the company is bigger, it's a bit more difficult at the beginning, but if it makes sense, if we already have all the pros and cons, and if we see that it won't take too much time for the team or for us, let's try, let's test. And if we don't test, we don't know. So that's really something super important for us on a daily basis. So that would be the main advice that I would like to give to people.
That's a good one. Yeah. You can only learn if you do things. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Delphine.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So if we want to know more about OnTheList, if we want to become a member, where should we go?
So you just go on onthelist.com, and then you will select the region that you are, and you can register as a member to get access to these exciting deals.
Cool. I'll add the link to the website and social media in the description of the episode. So, dear listeners, I hope you're inspired by today's business story. And if you're thinking about running your own business, you might now be one step closer to doing so. See you in 2 weeks to meet a new Hong Kong business owner. And don't forget to leave me 5 stars to support me and follow me on Instagram at hk.businessowners. Bye.
Bye-bye.